What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to talk about waking up from the script, becoming present, and becoming a firefly in your reality. These ideas are presented in Tufti the Priestess by Vadim Zeland, also in Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, as in many other teachings and books, to be honest. But I'm also going to talk about why. So people have asked me, I get asked, like, how is it that I get free stuff a lot, all the time, right? Well, I'm going to share that with you guys. So first off, there's the mental aspect of it, right? We always talk about, the robotic, and I've mentioned this many times. I have a certain phrase that I like to adopt, which is just like, everybody loves me. I always get treated the best. I always get treated well everywhere I go. I get the best service, right? And that type of theme so first off, there's this mental aspect, right? But then later on, it has to be embodied on an identity level. And that is essentially what is going on when we begin to robotically affirm, when we begin to rewrite the story, tell the story. Let's say that we've been telling ourselves a story that we never get sat at the right table, or people don't treat us right, or people in the service industry, right? Whatever these negative stories that we're entertaining, we get overlooked, something of this nature. Then you're going to want to begin a slow process, right? But for me, I don't even think about this anymore, really. I mean, yeah, I might just say that because it feels good to say, and it feels good to confirm that that's what's going on, especially every time it happens to me, I confirm it. But I had a comment that was left that was like, oh, the coffee manifesting free stuff doesn't seem so easy. And I replied, and I gave her a detailed description, because that's what's missing in this community a lot of the times. People are just like, oh, just feel it, just this blanket statement all the time. Oh, just persist, just feel it. Okay, but there's more going on here. And that's what I'm gonna share with you guys right now. And this is why I say that action is part of the process. And I'm gonna explain it to you right now why that is. Okay, so it's all well and good, right, that I have this mental loop going on, right? Everybody loves me. I put out positive energy. People just treat me well everywhere I go. Okay, so let's say I'm going to a cafe. I'm going somewhere to get food. And just literally yesterday, this is what happened, right? I'm going to pick up my to-go order, and I see the girl there. She, I can tell she's wearing like some interesting looking pants. And then I look down at her feet and she's wearing Uggs. And out here in Arizona, I'm like, damn, like, you gotta be crazy wearing Uggs in this hot weather. I didn't say that, but I did point out the Uggs. I was like, yeah, like, I have not seen anybody wearing Uggs in this weather out here. And she laughed and she was like, oh, and she was saying something about like the style of it and whatnot. And then there was a large like lemonade sitting on the counter, right? And I was like, damn, because I was just thinking like, damn, that looks really good. It's hot out. It looks like a homemade, fresh press type of deal. And I was like, I just asked, I was like, is that lemonade? And she was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, do you want one? And I was like, I mean, for free or what? Because I had already like kind of put my order in. And she was like, yeah, of course. Like, no worries. She was like, it's guava lemonade. And I was like, yeah, that would hit the spot right now, right? So what happened here? Okay. What exactly transpired? Well, on one hand, you could look at it like, oh yeah, you just have this thought, and therefore she just is naturally going to give you a free guava lemonade. I don't look at it like that, okay? And maybe this is where we disagree. I like to go into the details. I like to explain exactly what's going on, because that's what helps me understand things, and I think that there's a lot of other people that like that as well. A detailed explanation. First off, I have developed myself into, I've worked on my communication skills. I've done other videos in this where I shared that, going through growing up, I had a difficult time with the death of my mother. I was very socially withdrawn at an early age. I had to go out of my shell. I had to work on this aspect of myself, okay? With that being said, me, as the person that I am in this day and age, in this current timeline, in my opinion, I have very good social skills. I've shared before, I have a background in sales. I can pretty well be, turn on the charm or whatever you want to call it, right? But that's one component. The other component is that I'm simply present. And that is what Tufti and Eckhart Tolle, what they're talking about, right? With the being present. The fact is, most people are not simply present to the moment. Most people, if they, and this is where the social calibration comes into it too, because most people don't have good tonality, they don't have expressive body language, they don't, and if they were to say something, they might come off stifled, like, oh, those, you're wearing Uggs, or like, I don't know, a lot of guys are like really nervous when they talk to girls. So all of these things are compounding, and on top of my identity that people just like love my energy and people just give me free things. And look, I'm not trying to brag. Please don't take this as bragging of me saying that I have good social skills. What I'm trying to do is give you a step-by-step, all of the facets that go into this, all the ingredients that make this piece of the pie. Now, you can work on your social skills, and I highly recommend it. Self-development has served me extremely well. Learning about psychology, learning about how to communicate better, learning about sales has all impacted my life in a tremendously positive way. But another way of doing this would be to simply illuminate the frame or visualize people being friendly to you. That's another technique that you can use. The Tufti, they talk about in Tufti, and many people talk about this. Sports psychologists talk about this. It's used widely. We're at a point in time where it's being used, and it's being used with great success. So we might as well adopt this, right? So if you imagine that, you know, when you go up to the barista or to whoever it is at the counter and they just smile at you and want to be giving because you are giving, right? You're not coming at this with a taking type of mentality. And here's the sauce with this, right? When you express genuine interest in people, especially people that are on the job working behind it, let's say at Chipotle, like wherever it is, you crack a joke with them, you make them laugh. This is, now you are giving. You are coming from a giving energy rather than the take, right? This is what Vadim Zeland talks about. You are coming from an abundance mentality rather than a scarcity mentality. People that are in a scarcity mentality, they're stuck in their heads. They're like, oh, how can I get this? How can I work this? And immediately, you know, the instinctual thing would be to complain or to do this or to be very stuck in their head when they're working with anybody in any capacity that's doing anything for them. Let's say that you're getting your car worked on, or you're out and you're trying to purchase get a certain deal, whatever it might be, the situation that you find yourself in. So what's going on is that because you're being present, you're expressing genuine curiosity and interest in the person. Let's say that you give them a compliment. You like say, hey, like, I love that style. You know, the pants that she was wearing were pretty unique too. I could have been like, yo, those are sick, right? That is immediately snapping them out of their rigmarole thoughts of the day. Maybe they're worried. Maybe they're just like, oh, I'm tired of being at work, to, oh, wow, like, thank you, right? Everybody loves being complimented. Everybody loves being shown interest in, genuine interest. And it's not fake. I genuinely was like kind of just laughing at the fact that she was wearing Uggs in the heat, or in the circumstance of me complimenting. You know, sometimes if I see somebody that's wearing something cool, I'm like, dude, that's a dope shirt. I might even ask them like where they got it, whatever the case, right? So when you have a genuine interest in people and you have enthusiasm and you're present to the moment, it's like Vadim Zeland talks about in Tufti. It's like you are like a firefly and you stand out from everybody else. And the natural inclination is for that person, they naturally want to reciprocate that type of positive energy with more positive energy. And oftentimes the main thing that they can come up with is like, oh, well, let me give you this. Let me discount this. Here, you can just have that. It's cool. Like, no charge, right? So that's really what's going on. You know, you can always look at things from, and whatever perspective helps you. For me, I'm very analytical, I'm very logical, and I like to know, you know, what's going on, and so that I can replicate things, right? If I have a certain thing that I'm doing in business, or a certain thing that I'm doing in some sort of creative work, or socially, whatever it might be, I want to know, why is it that this works? Why is it that this doesn't work, right? And so hopefully this makes sense. And again, I'm not trying to come off like braggadocious or anything in this video. I'm literally trying to explain my mindset and what I think has served me to allow me. I've gotten upgraded to first class. I get free things very often, and it's not all the time. It's not every single time, but that's another part of this, is that to me, it's not a big deal. And so there's this detached aspect to it that's not at play to me, to be honest, in other areas of life. In other areas, I can be much more attached and things don't flow as naturally. But because I just have this belief for whatever reason, I'm often out with people and people are like, why and how are you just getting all this stuff for free? And I think that's a large part of it, is that detachment, that natural, that's just where my consciousness dwells. And of course it doesn't happen every time, right? That would actually be kind of crazy if like every single time I was out anywhere, somebody gave me something for free. It doesn't happen quite that often, but I'm telling myself that anyways. I'm like, it happens to me all the time. Like people are giving me stuff all the time for free. People love me all the time. Everyone loves me. And again, not every single person loves me, and not every single time am I in this kind of like good mood where I'm being gregarious. There might be times where I'm just simply, listening to something in my headphones and I don't really care to interact with people, right? But it all comes down to your mental dialogue. And that's why I'm so big on the robotic affirming. But that's also why I want you guys to embrace this grounded approach that has served me, because I think it's something that's lacking in this community, in this space. And again, do what resonates with you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what works for me. I'm sharing what works for me. And if it does help you to embrace this grounded approach and to actually give it some thought of like, okay, why is this actually working? What actually happened here? What were the steps that occurred here? I think that it can give you, it can be helpful, hopefully. Like it's been helpful for me. The studying of communication, studying sales, studying psychology, I think it's worth anybody's time, because anything in life requires communication with other people. We had that video recently that's like manifesting people, right? And any sort of manifestation, if you want to use that language, or goal that you might have, is going to be involving people for the most part. The only thing that I can think of maybe that doesn't count for this is like physical health stuff, or if you're working out in the gym. But even with that requires tapping into your own psychology, right? So our ability to tap into our own psychology, use it to motivate us, use it to enhance what we're doing, and understand why these things are going on, is going to be valuable. Otherwise, you're kind of just going by the flow. You can adopt a state, right? But you may not know why it's working. And it may be very hit or miss, the kind of results that you get, right? People that are working on their business, they don't want to just send out one email or do one sales call or have one digital product or service that does really well and then not understand it, right? Because then they can't replicate the success. So what I like to do is I like to understand it, break it down into its parts. And I want to share that with you guys so that you can understand why I also talk about things in the way that I do. Yes, it's the mental. It's the component of imagining. It's the component of telling yourself, informing your new dialogue. People love me. I get treated everywhere I go. It's also the action of expressing genuine interest in people. And again, you could argue that would be a natural consequence of feeling the wish fulfilled, but I don't look at it like that. I look at it like, oh, I'm naturally a sociable person. Well, then, and then I take the action to be sociable, to engage people and be interested in people and curious about them, genuinely, because I like people. I know there's a lot of people out here that are not. I run into people, a mixed bag of people, right? But in general, I do like people and I like being social. And I think, it's very interesting with Tufti's book, talking about becoming present, waking up, and that way you have ability to shift the script. Because I've had this sensation, and I've had it from listening even before I found out about Vadim Zeland, from listening to the Practicing the Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle. Because there's this sensation where it's just kind of like you flip on, like everything is just, you're actually more present to the moment. You notice that maybe the colors seem more vivid, or you're just more in tune, you feel better, you feel like genuinely in your body. And now you are interested in people around you. And you're expressive. And that is that presence of being that really, especially now with everybody stuck and glued into their cell phones, you stand out from everybody else when you are being present. So there's so many different ways you could look at this. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I hope that this gives you kind of like an insight into my thought process. One of the reasons why going out, and what's interesting is that Tufti, he recommends doing this, going to a shopping center or out to a cafe where nobody knows you, because you can immediately see the reflection in the mirror of the way that people react to you from people who don't know you, or people working in shops and things like that. He talks about this in the book. Why is that? Because they don't have any previous history, because you're not stuck in your head with any previous baggage or history. And you simply have an opportunity to impact the mirror's reflection right in that moment, right? With a lot of these longer term goals, let's say we're working on our business, we're working on a creative project or a relationship thing, we don't get to see that reflection as immediately. And so there's a lot more times for the doubt to creep in, for the fears, the anxieties. And so that's why this is actually really, really cool. It's a really cool exercise that you can do in terms of your ability to influence reality, right? Is to go out and conversate with people that are working, let's say, in this type of way. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that this, this serves you going forward to have this kind of more broken down rather than just this blanket, just do it, just dwell in the wish fulfilled. Because to be honest, yeah, that can have its value sometimes, but me personally, I resonate more with people that are able to break down information that are actionable, and that's why I like a lot of Tony Robbins content, a lot of people that are, Vadim Zeland's content as well, because they're literally giving you applicable things that you can do to begin to do that, to shift that state. So anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop this with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.